Hollywood, a world of bright lights, red carpets, and endless luxury. A place where dreams are made and where danger seems impossibly distant. But in 2001, the glamorous life of one of cinema's brightest stars would intersect with the most primal force of the natural world, a force so ancient, so merciless, it has stalked the earth long before humans ever walked it. Sharon Stone, a woman whose name is synonymous with beauty, power, and Hollywood stardom. Her husband, Phil Bronstein, a journalist unafraid of danger, accustomed to reporting from some of the most treacherous corners of the globe. Together, they believed they could step into a controlled, safe environment, a private zoo tour, an encounter meant to thrill, to educate, to entertain. But some encounters with nature are never meant to be controlled. Some moments, no matter how careful, cannot be predicted. On that fateful day, a predator, silent, calculating, and perfectly adapted to strike, waited. A creature that has survived ice ages, volcanic eruptions, and centuries of evolution, unchanged in its lethal efficiency. The Komodo dragon, 7 to 10 feet of sheer muscle and teeth, weighing nearly 200 pounds, carrying venom and bacteria capable of immobilizing even the largest prey. It was a predator designed by nature to dominate, and unsuspecting humans were about to learn just how unforgiving that design could be. What began as a private visit, a moment to admire, and perhaps even photograph one of the planet's most fascinating reptiles, quickly descended into chaos. What should have been a controlled, safe experience became a terrifying, life-altering nightmare, one soaked in blood, shock, and terror. This is not just a story of a Hollywood celebrity and a dangerous animal. It is a story about the raw power of nature, the fine line between life and death, and a chilling reminder, no matter how rich, famous, or prepared you are, in the wild, survival is never guaranteed. Before we journey deeper into the horrifying events of that day, take a moment to ensure you don't miss a single moment of this story. Subscribe to our channel to join a community that explores the raw, unfiltered truths of the natural world and the chilling ways it intersects with human life. Stay informed, stay aware, because knowledge is the first step toward safety. Like this video, if you believe that understanding these predators, their behaviors, and their habitats is not just fascinating, but essential for protecting ourselves and those we love. Every like helps spread awareness about the dangers that humans sometimes underestimate. Share this video with friends and family. Every person who sees it is one more person who will remember, no matter how controlled we think our environment is, nature always holds the ultimate power. Sharon Stone, a name that commands attention wherever it appears. Star of iconic films like Basic Instinct and Casino, she was the embodiment of Hollywood glamour, dazzling, powerful, untouchable. Her life seemed perfectly curated, like the flawless images in magazines and on the silver screen. Her husband, Phil Bronstein, occupied a very different world. A journalist with a reputation for courage, Bronstein had reported from some of the most dangerous conflict zones on the planet. He had stared into the face of human cruelty, war, and political upheaval, documenting the stories that most people would never dare to witness. And yet, for all his experience with danger, nothing could prepare him for what awaited at the Los Angeles Zoo that day. Sharon Stone, wanting to combine education, adventure, and a personal encounter with one of nature's most fascinating creatures, arranged a private tour. Not just any animal, but one of the zoo's most prized and feared residents, a Komodo dragon. A creature of mythic proportions, 7 to 10 feet long, nearly 200 pounds of sinew, muscle, and predatory precision. A living fossil, virtually unchanged for millions of years, whose bite delivers not just crushing force, but venom that can incapacitate its prey in minutes. The dragon had evolved to survive in some of the harshest environments on Earth. Its ancestors roamed the islands of Indonesia long before humans arrived. It is patient, calculating, silent, a predator built for one purpose: to hunt, to dominate, to kill. On that day, Phil Bronstein, confident in his own experience with danger and reassured by the controlled setting of the zoo, stepped inside the enclosure. Every step seemed routine. Every glance at the animal seemed calm. But appearances are deceiving, because in that moment, a predator was studying him as carefully as he was observing it. Every flick of the tongue, every subtle shift of weight was part of a deadly calculus that had evolved over millennia. What began as a personal, educational, and thrilling encounter was about to become something far more sinister. A moment where the boundaries between human confidence and the raw, untamed power of nature would vanish in an instant. That day, an ordinary visit to the zoo would transform into a life or death struggle that would haunt both Sharon Stone and Phil Bronstein forever. The zookeeper's warning was simple, almost casual. Wear white shoes? Why? Because Komodo dragons, apex predators of the islands, often associate darker colors with potential prey. It's a survival instinct honed over millions of years. Phil Bronstein, confident, calm, wearing sandals, thought he was prepared. He stepped into the enclosure, unaware of just how quickly calm could turn to chaos. The Komodo dragon was motionless at first, almost imperceptible. But then, subtle movements began. Its head lifted, tongue flicking rapidly, tasting the air, sensing heat and vibrations. Its nostrils flared. Every muscle in its body tensed, coiled, ready. This was not a lunge yet. It was a predator calculating its strike with absolute precision. Phil crouched to pose for a photograph, a smile, a simple gesture, and in that instant, the dragon made its decision. Then, with the speed and violence of a force of nature, it lunged. Its jaws opened wide, revealing serrated teeth like jagged daggers. Its massive head crashed down on his foot. Pain exploded instantly, not just pain, but the shock of being overpowered by a creature built to dominate every step of its prey's struggle. Phil tried to pull away. He tried to twist, to kick, to free himself, but the dragon's bite was more than just teeth. Komodo dragons don't simply bite. They hold, they shake, they tear, and they crush. Every pull, every struggle only intensified the damage. The enclosure erupted in chaos. Screams, shouts, people pounding on the barriers. The dragon, sensing vulnerability, pulled harder, dragging Phil toward the edge. For Sharon Stone, it was unthinkable. Just steps away, she watched in paralyzing horror as her husband, her partner, the man she loved, was held captive by a predator older than the human species itself. Every second stretched into an eternity. The Komodo dragon's attack is a culmination of evolutionary perfection. Its teeth, serrated like steak knives, tear flesh with terrifying efficiency. Its venom slows blood clotting, drops blood pressure, and induces shock. Its claws and tail can break bone. For Phil Bronstein, all of these lethal traits converged in one terrifying moment. This was no ordinary attack. It was a confrontation with a living fossil, a predator, perfectly adapted to kill. And in those moments, the line between life and death became razor thin. Sharon Stone screamed, her voice echoing across the enclosure. Staff rushed in, improvised weapons and loud noises pounding the air. The dragon finally released Phil, but not before inflicting a mauling that would forever mark him, physically, emotionally, and psychologically. In just seconds, a routine visit meant to educate and thrill had transformed into a life-or-death struggle with a predator that has stalked the earth since before humans existed. A predator that doesn't negotiate, doesn't hesitate, and doesn't forgive mistakes. Chaos erupted in the enclosure. Staff members, armed only with improvised tools, screamed, waved, and stamped to distract the ancient predator. Every second was a battle against time, every moment a test of human courage versus nature's raw, unyielding force. Phil Bronstein, injured, disoriented, and in excruciating pain, was finally freed from the dragon's crushing bite. His foot was mangled beyond recognition. Tendons shredded, skin torn, bone punctured. Blood soaked the ground and his clothing, a visceral reminder of the deadly power of a creature humans often underestimate. He was immediately placed on a stretcher and rushed to the waiting ambulance. The ride to the hospital was a blur of sirens, pain, and fear. Every jolt of the vehicle sending waves of agony through his shattered foot. Emergency surgery was required just to save the leg. Doctors worked with precision and urgency. Tendons had to be repaired, flesh reconstructed, and infection prevented. The Komodo dragon's bite is more than just mechanical damage. Its saliva carries deadly bacteria and venom that can trigger septic shock within hours, if untreated. For Sharon Stone, watching her husband on a hospital stretcher, surrounded by medical staff fighting to save him, it was a moment of utter helplessness. Fame, wealth, and privilege, elements that had defined her life, offered no protection here. No amount of Hollywood security could shield her from the raw, indifferent laws of nature. And yet, amid the panic and despair, moments of extraordinary human courage emerged. The zookeepers who risked their lives, the medical team who fought tirelessly to save Phil, and even the visitors who offered aid, all acted instinctively, proving that even in the shadow of ancient predators, humanity can respond with resilience, bravery, and compassion. The world watched in shock. News outlets broadcast the story repeatedly. For the public, it was a sensational Hollywood moment. But for those present, it was a terrifying lesson. No matter how controlled an environment may seem, the power of nature is absolute. Komodo dragons are apex predators. Their jaws are capable of crushing bone. Their claws can tear through flesh. Their venom and bacteria work in tandem to weaken and immobilize prey. When Phil Bronstein was attacked, all of these deadly traits converged in a single instant, reminding humanity of a truth we often ignore. In the wild, survival is never guaranteed. In that moment, the glamour of Hollywood, the fame, the wealth, the carefully curated life, all of it seemed meaningless in the face of raw, unforgiving nature. What remained was survival, pain, recovery, and a memory that would haunt them forever. To truly grasp the horror of what happened to Phil Bronstein, we must first understand the predator itself. The Komodo dragon, the largest lizard on Earth, is a creature so perfectly adapted for survival that it has changed little in over 3 million years. Its ancestors stalked the Earth while early humans were still evolving. It is, in essence, a living dinosaur. A Komodo dragon hunts with terrifying patience, Unlike predators that rely on speed or brute force alone, the dragon uses a combination of stealth, observation, and calculated strikes. It can lie motionless for hours, waiting, watching, sensing the vibrations of the earth with acute precision until its prey is vulnerable. Its jaw is a weapon of mechanical perfection. Serrated teeth slice through flesh like knives, while the bite delivers venom and a toxic cocktail of bacteria designed to weaken and immobilize. In many cases, the prey may initially escape, but the slow-acting venom ensures that it will eventually succumb. This is evolution in action, a predator engineered for lethality. The Komodo's claws are equally deadly. Sharp and curved, they can tear through flesh and grip struggling prey. Its tail, a thick muscular weapon, can knock down animals many times its size. A single swipe can fracture bones. Its sheer strength, combined with cunning, makes it a predator few animals can evade. But perhaps the most terrifying trait of the Komodo dragon is its opportunism. Unlike lions, which hunt in coordinated packs, or sharks, which rely on movement and instinct, the Komodo dragon is patient, calculating, and unpredictable. It waits, it stalks, it strikes when weakness appears, and when it attacks, it does not hesitate. In the wild islands of Indonesia, encounters with humans are rare. Locals know to respect the dragon's territory, to avoid their paths, to stay vigilant. But when a human enters the wrong place at the wrong time, the results can be catastrophic. The 2001 Mauling of Phil Bronstein is a chilling example. A creature that had survived millions of years in isolation, honed by evolution to dominate every meal and every encounter, turned its lethal instincts toward an unsuspecting human. It was not revenge. It was not malice. It was survival, the uncompromising ancient law of nature. Every part of its body is designed for survival. Thick, armor-like scales protect it from attacks. Its keen senses detect movement, heat, and even chemical changes in the air. Its teeth continuously grow, replaced as they wear down, ensuring that every bite remains a deadly tool. Its slow, deliberate stalking movements make it almost invisible until it is too late. And yet, despite this power, Komodo dragons are not mindless killers. They are highly intelligent predators, capable of planning, observing, and adapting. Every strike is calculated, every ambush is strategic. They are hunters that have perfected the art of predation over millions of years. When Phil Bronstein entered the enclosure, he stepped into a world ruled by instincts far older and far more precise than anything human ingenuity could match. The Komodo dragon does not negotiate, it does not hesitate, and it certainly does not forgive mistakes. In that moment, for Phil, Sharon Stone, and everyone present, the ancient silent predator became a living nightmare, a terrifying reminder that humans, no matter how advanced, remain vulnerable when we cross the boundaries of the natural world. So, what can humanity truly learn from the Hollywood nightmare that unfolded that day? First, we are reminded of a fundamental truth. Wild animals, no matter how carefully managed, no matter how tamed we believe them to be, are never fully domesticated. Every creature carries instincts honed over millions of years, instincts that cannot be erased, suppressed, or negotiated. A Komodo dragon does not attack out of anger. It does not strike out of revenge. It simply behaves according to the law of survival, a law that existed long before humans walked the earth, and a law that will persist long after we are gone. To underestimate that is to invite disaster. We live in a world obsessed with control. humans build walls, enclosures, fences, and barriers, believing we can manipulate nature, bend it to our whims, or reduce it to spectacle. And yet, for all our wealth, privilege, and technology, that illusion shatters when we forget one simple truth. In the wild, we are visitors, not rulers. Our fascination with predators, the desire to observe, to interact, to photograph, must always be tempered with respect and caution. Every encounter carries risk. Every risk, if misjudged, can be fatal. What happened to Phil Bronstein was not the result of recklessness in the human sense. It was the collision of human curiosity and the ancient, precise instincts of a predator that has survived for millions of years. And yet, this story is also a lesson in resilience. Phil survived. Against incredible odds, his life was spared. But the scars remain, not just on his body, but etched into the lives of all who witnessed the attack. His experience serves as a living reminder that nature is indifferent. It does not favor the famous, the wealthy, or the clever. Survival is determined by respect, awareness, and humility. For humanity, there is a deeper reflection here. Every time we enter the world of the wild, we step into a realm governed by rules far older than human law. Every step must be taken with caution, every action measured with respect. Because nature is impartial, relentless, and sometimes terrifying. Our fascination with adventure, with pushing boundaries, must be balanced with understanding, with reverence, with fear, not paralyzing fear, but the sharp, intelligent awareness that survival depends on recognizing that we are not the apex predators when we step into their domain. Phil Bronstein survived that day, but he carries a story written in scars, a story that transcends Hollywood glamour. It is a story that reminds us all, life is fragile, the natural world is powerful, and every encounter with a predator, every step into the unknown, demands respect, preparation, and humility. This Hollywood nightmare, as terrifying as it was, is also an invaluable lesson, a lesson that humanity must never forget. Because sometimes the price of curiosity is higher than we can imagine. This was more than a freak accident. It was a wake-up call, a Hollywood nightmare that revealed the fragile, often invisible line between human and beast, a line that can vanish in an instant when we underestimate the power of the natural world. Phil Bronstein survived, but his scars, physical, emotional, and psychological, remain. And for others who step too close to predators unprepared, survival is never guaranteed. If this story shocked you, moved you, or made you reflect on the power and unpredictability of nature, here's how you can help spread awareness and keep these lessons alive. Subscribe to our channel. Join a community dedicated to exploring the raw, unfiltered realities of wildlife and human encounters. By subscribing, you stay informed and connected, gaining knowledge that could save lives and deepen your understanding of the natural world. Like this video, every like signals that you value education, respect for predators, and awareness of the boundaries humans must never cross. It's a small action that contributes to spreading knowledge about safety, caution, and the awe-inspiring force of nature. Share this video with friends and family. Each person who sees it is one more person who learns a critical lesson about the power of predators, the importance of respect, and the need to never take nature for granted. One story can inspire countless people to approach wildlife with caution and reverence. Because the next time, the next encounter, the next tragedy could be closer than you think. Knowledge, awareness, and respect are the tools that keep us alive when we step into the world of predators.